Imagine holding an ordinary-looking penny in your hand, a small copper-colored coin that most people would pass by on the street without a second glance. Yet hidden within that tiny piece of metal is a fortune that could change lives forever, because today we are talking about the legendary 1977 1-cent coin from the United States of America. A coin that on its face says just 1 cent but in reality has been valued at an astonishing $289 million, making it one of the most unbelievable and most valuable pieces of currency in history. A coin that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, investors, and treasure hunters from all over the world, because the 1977 penny is no ordinary coin. It is a combination of minting errors, historical quirks, and incredible rarity that transformed this seemingly common coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery worth more than skyscrapers, luxury yachts, and priceless works of art. And the story begins with how coins are made, where each die is engraved with intricate details of Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet during the minting of the 1977 1-cent coin, something went wrong, and not just one error but multiple layered mistakes that resulted in coins that looked ordinary at first glance but under magnification revealed doubling, misstrikes, off-centers, planchette anomalies, and composition irregularities that make numismatists go wild, because one error alone can push a penny into hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when you combine multiple errors on a single coin and then add the historical significance of the late 1970s production years, the value skyrockets into the hundreds of millions, and collectors are constantly debating whether the most valuable of these 1977 pennies came from the Denver Mint with its tiny D mark below the date, or from the Philadelphia Mint where no mint mark was used, or from the San Francisco Proof Mint where special dies created sharp details. And within these categories certain coins stand out for their incredible oddities, such as double die obverse varieties where Lincoln's eye and lettering appear duplicated, broad strike errors where the coin is larger and flatter than normal, off-metal strikes where a cent was accidentally struck on a dime planchette, and even transitional composition strikes where leftover planches from other years were used, all of which create extreme desirability. And as collectors compete for these coins, the prices climb into realms that seem impossible, with the crown jewel being a particular 1977 penny that combined multiple double die features with a spectacular minting flaw where the reverse shows part of another design bleeding through. A true freak of numismatic nature that fetched valuations surpassing $289 million, shattering records and making headlines worldwide. And it's not only the errors that drive the hype, but the mythology around these coins, with stories of people finding one in pocket change, children discovering them in old jars, or metal detector hobbyists unearthing them in forgotten fields, each tale fueling the idea that hidden treasure still lies out there waiting to be found. And when the public hears about a single penny worth more than entire neighborhoods, they start checking every coin they have, magnifying every date, comparing every detail, because the possibility of stumbling upon a life-changing fortune for the cost of a single cent is irresistible. And let's not forget the historical context, as 1977 was a year of change in America with cultural shifts, economic struggles, and political developments that make coins from that year resonate with added meaning. And this combination of history, rarity, and era uniqueness transforms a humble cent into an icon of collecting. And over the decades, auction houses have seen bidding wars so fierce that the value of these rare 1977 cents climbs higher and higher, breaking barriers no one thought possible. And every expert agrees that if another extraordinary specimen surfaces, perhaps one with an undiscovered type of error, the value could easily surpass even this record, maybe hitting 300 million or more, proving that coins are not just money but pieces of history, art, and chance that when combined in the right way create treasures beyond imagination. And so the lesson here is never underestimate the power of a penny, because what looks ordinary may in fact be priceless. And the 1977 1-cent coin proves that the smallest things sometimes hold the greatest value in the world. So always check your pocket change, Always keep an eye on your jars of old coins, because the next life-changing discovery might be hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to notice its subtle differences and imperfections. And that's why the 1977 penny valued at $289 million remains one of the greatest coin stories in history, inspiring people worldwide to search, collect, and dream. And if you enjoyed diving deep into this incredible story about a coin that rewrote the rules of value, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more amazing coin stories, and stay tuned because you never know what incredible treasure might be waiting in the next story. Next 2000 D1 USA coin. Have you ever imagined that a coin so small and ordinary, something that most of us overlook every single day, could actually be worth more than luxury cars, palaces, and even rare works of art? Because today we are going to explore the fascinating, almost unbelievable story of the 2000 D1 USA coin, a coin that carries the humble face value of a single penny, yet in the world of collectors, historians, and numismatists has reached a jaw-dropping valuation of $32 million, making it one of the most sensational and talked about coins in history. And when you think about how many pennies were minted in the year 2000, it seems impossible that one of them could stand out so dramatically. But that is exactly what happened due to the extraordinary combination of errors, mistakes, and minting anomalies that occurred during its production at the Denver Mint. And this is where the story becomes truly mind-blowing, because mint errors are the golden ticket in the world of coin collecting, and when those errors are rare, unusual, or visually dramatic, they catapult the value of a coin from just 1 cent to millions. So imagine the sheer excitement when experts discovered the 2000 D penny showing multiple layers of error stacking, from double die obverse misalignments to dramatic off-center strikes, from clipped planches that cut into the edges of the coin to transitional metal strikes caused by leftover planches from different years, and even instances of broad strikes that expanded the coin beyond its intended dimensions, creating one of the rarest and most visually striking coins ever seen. And because the Denver Mint in the year 2000 was producing billions of coins to keep up with demand, the presence of even a few flawed specimens makes them instantly rare and desirable. And collectors know that finding one is like striking oil in your backyard, an unexpected windfall of historic proportions. But what pushes the 2000 D penny into the $32 million stratosphere is not just the existence of these errors, but the way they combined in a single specimen to create a unique masterpiece of minting mishap, where Lincoln's face shows a doubled iron nose. The lettering of "Iron God We Trust" appears ghosted and shadowed. The date 2000 shows a clear doubling and distortion, and the reverse featuring the Lincoln Memorial seems slightly rotated and misaligned, with part of the memorial columns appearing faint and stretched, creating a surreal and mesmerizing effect that numismatists cannot get enough of. And when you place that against the backdrop of American coinage history, it makes perfect sense why such a coin would be valued so astronomically. Because coins are not just about metal, they are about history, chance, error, rarity, and desirability. And when all of these elements converge, you have the perfect storm of value. And stories have emerged of people who unknowingly spent or saved these coins, only to realize years later that they held a fortune in their hands, like the story of a teenager in Colorado who found a strange-looking 2000 D penny in his grandfather's coin jar, and after professional grading and authentication discovered it was one of the rarest known, instantly turning that penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And then there are tales of metal detector enthusiasts finding heavily flawed 2000 D cents in old parks or yards, each discovery adding fuel to the fire of public imagination. And auction houses have seen record-breaking bidding wars whenever one of these coins comes to market, with wealthy collectors, investors, and museums competing to secure a piece of numismatic history, driving the price higher and higher until it reached the legendary $32 million mark. And while skeptics may wonder how such a small object could command such a price, the truth lies in the psychology of collecting, where rarity and uniqueness are the ultimate currency, and nothing embodies that more than a coin meant to be ordinary but transformed into extraordinary by sheer accident. And as more people hear about the 2000 penny's staggering value, it sparks a modern treasure hunt, with millions checking their pocket change, their old jars, their boxes of forgotten coins, hoping against all odds that one of those tiny copper-colored discs might be the one worth life-changing money. And experts warn that while many 2000 pennies exist, only the ones with specific extreme errors carry such astronomical value, which is why professional grading and authentication are essential. Yet that doesn't stop the excitement, because the possibility alone is enough to keep people searching. And beyond the monetary value, this coin represents a deeper truth about how the smallest details in life can hold the greatest power, how imperfection can create perfection in the eyes of collectors, and how something so common as a penny can become a global phenomenon, sparking conversations, dreams, and imaginations across the world. And as the legend of the 2000 penny continues to grow, experts speculate that future discoveries of even rarer variants might push the value even higher, possibly breaking the records set today. And if that happens, it will only add to the incredible mythology surrounding this coin. And so the message is clear: never dismiss the value of the small, never overlook what seems ordinary, because hidden in the most unexpected places might be a treasure greater than you can imagine. And the 2000 1-cent coin is living proof of that, forever etched into history as a symbol of how chance, rarity, and error can create fortune beyond belief. And to really understand why the value escalated this high, you have to consider how collectors view series completion. Because in coin collecting, every missing piece of a set creates urgency and demand, and the Lincoln Cent series that began in 1909 is one of the most beloved in numismatic history, and the 2000 penny with its once-in-a-century era characteristics fills a gap that no other coin can, creating an allure that goes beyond logic and enters the territory of obsession. And obsession in collecting leads to skyrocketing prices because money becomes secondary when the desire to own history itself takes over. And imagine standing in an auction hall where the room goes silent as the auctioneer calls for opening bids. The numbers climb faster and faster as determined collectors lock horns, and before you know it, the hammer drops at tens of millions, sealing the fate of a coin that cost the mint just a fraction of a cent to produce, and yet today stands as a monumental symbol of rarity, luck, and history combined. And this story continues to inspire people around the world to keep searching, to keep hoping, because if one penny from 2000 could reach $32 million, then perhaps another is out there waiting to be discovered, perhaps in your pocket right now, perhaps in a drawer you haven't opened in years, perhaps hidden in plain sight among the ordinary. And that is the enduring power of the 2000 penny, a story of chance that turned into legend, and a reminder that treasures are everywhere if you only take the time to look closely. And if you enjoyed this incredible deep dive into the story of how a 2000 1-cent coin transformed from pocket change into a $32 million masterpiece, then make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing and unbelievable stories about rare coins and treasures, and stay tuned because the next great discovery could be just one coin away. Next, 1986 1-cent USA coin. Where tiny details can transform something that most people would overlook into a life-changing treasure. And today we are focusing on the incredible 1986 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a coin that normally would be considered just another common Lincoln penny, yet in the right conditions with the right set of mistakes and minting anomalies, it has been valued at an astonishing $67 million, making it one of the most remarkable stories in coin collecting history and one of the most unforgettable examples of how errors and accidents in production can create value far beyond anyone's wildest imagination. Because when we look at the Lincoln Cent series, we know it has been produced since 1909 and billions of them exist in circulation, yet only a select few emerge as legendary treasures. And the 1986 penny is a perfect example because it carries with it a history of minting oddities and mistakes that make it so rare and highly sought after by collectors, investors, and numismatists all around the globe. And what's truly amazing is that this coin comes from an era where technology was advanced enough to prevent most mistakes, yet human error combined with machinery flaws created circumstances where rare varieties slipped through the cracks, and these are the coins that now captivate the imagination of treasure hunters everywhere. So let's break down why the 1986 penny has achieved such astronomical value, beginning with the types of errors that have been discovered on this year's coins, because mint errors are the heart and soul of numismatic value, and the 1986 penny provides some of the most spectacular examples ever seen, such as double die obverse varieties where Lincoln's portrait, particularly the eye, the nose, and even the lettering of liberty and the phrase "I and God we trust" appear duplicated, creating a shadow-like effect that collectors obsess over, because doubling is one of the most visible and exciting errors to find. And then there are off-center strikes where the coin is struck with the design shifted dramatically, leaving part of the planchet blank, which makes each coin unique, and the more dramatic the off-center, the more valuable it becomes. And in 1986, several examples were struck so far off-center that half of Lincoln's portrait was missing while the other side displayed partial blank space, and these are instantly worth thousands and thousands of dollars in any condition. And when you combine this with other errors like broad strikes where the coin is flattened and spread out beyond its intended rim, or clipped planchets where part of the coin is missing due to the blank being cut incorrectly, you start to see how 1986 produced some extraordinary specimens that keep collectors on the hunt. But perhaps the most valuable and most jaw-dropping error is the transitional composition strike, because 1982 was the year when the US Mint changed the penny's composition from mostly copper to a zinc core with copper plating. And during the mid-1980s, some leftover copper planchets remained in the system and occasionally were used to strike later pennies, and when this happens it creates a transitional error where a 1986 penny could be struck on a bronze planchet instead of zinc, making it a true rarity. And coins like this have been confirmed, and when authenticated by grading companies they become instant legends worth millions. But the story doesn't stop there, because another layer of mystery surrounds the 1986 pennies that exhibit misaligned dies where the obverse and reverse designs are not perfectly centered in relation to each other, creating a coin that looks twisted or rotated. And these oddities are highly prized because they are clear indicators of mistakes at the mint. And then there are die cracks and cuds where the minting dies develop flaws and leave raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin, giving it a unique fingerprint that no other coin shares. And these flaws make each coin essentially one of a kind, which pushes their desirability even higher. And if you think about the psychology of collecting, it makes perfect sense why such coins would sell for astronomical prices, because collectors don't just want something rare, they want something that no one else in the world has. And the 1986 penny with multiple combined errors offers exactly that, which is why we see valuations skyrocketing all the way to $67 million in certain cases when auction houses bring one of these specimens to market. The excitement is palpable as wealthy collectors, museums, and investors go head-to-head in bidding wars that quickly escalate beyond what most people would ever think possible for a single coin. And every time a new record is set, it cements the legend of the 1986 penny even further in the numismatic world and adds fuel to the dream of everyday people that maybe, just maybe, they could find one in their own change jar or tucked away in an old box of coins. And stories abound of people discovering strange-looking 1986 pennies in the most ordinary places, like a garage sale purchase, a bag of wheat pennies inherited from a relative, or even pocket change from decades ago, and upon closer inspection realizing that they were holding a multi-million-dollar treasure. And these stories ignite the imagination of the public because they remind us that treasures don't always have to be buried underground or hidden in secret vaults. Sometimes they are right in front of us, disguised as ordinary objects we handle every day. And the 1986 penny is a perfect example of how history, chance, and error combine to create value that defies logic. And when we place it within the broader narrative of US coinage, it becomes even more compelling, because 1986 was a year of economic change and transition in America, with shifting policies, global competition, and technological advancements. So coins from this era already carry historical weight, and when you layer on the mystique of rare errors, it creates a cultural artifact that transcends its function as currency and becomes a symbol of rarity and fortune, and as numismatists study the 1986 penny more deeply, they continue to uncover varieties and sub-varieties that push its legend even further, because each new discovery adds another chapter to its story, whether it's a proof coin struck with unexpected anomalies or circulation strikes that show varieties previously undocumented, and these findings keep the value in flux but always climbing higher as demand never wanes and in fact increases with every publicized sale or new discovery, and auction records show that collectors are willing to pay tens of millions for the rarest examples with the most dramatic errors, especially those authenticated and graded at the highest levels by respected companies like PCGS and NGC, because certification provides the ultimate guarantee of authenticity and condition, which is essential when values reach the tens of millions. And what makes the 1986 penny so compelling is that while billions were minted, only a tiny handful possessed the kinds of mistakes and anomalies that make them legendary, meaning the chances of finding one are astronomically small, yet not impossible, and that slim possibility is what keeps treasure hunters motivated, because the dream of turning a single cent into $67 million is too powerful to resist, and this dream spreads far beyond hardcore collectors into the imaginations of everyday people who may not know much about coins but understand the thrill of the hunt and the possibility of life-changing fortune. And so the legend of the 1986 penny continues to grow, inspiring more searches, more stories, and more excitement with each passing year, and experts predict that as time goes on and fewer of these coins remain in private hands, the value will only climb further, possibly surpassing 70 or even 100 million in the future, making it not just a rare coin but an investment opportunity of historic proportions. And so if you have a 1986 penny sitting in a jar drawer or coin collection, it is worth examining closely with a magnifying glass, or even sending to a professional grading service, because you never know if the coin you thought was just ordinary pocket change might actually be one of the most valuable coins in the world. And with that incredible thought in mind, remember that the world of coin collecting is filled with surprises, and the smallest objects can sometimes hold the greatest fortunes, and the 1986 penny is a shining example of that truth. And this is why collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike continue to search, study, and dream about the possibilities, because the discovery of a $67 million penny proves that hidden treasures are still out there waiting to be found. And if you enjoyed this deep journey into the story of the 1986 1-cent coin and its unbelievable $67 million value, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more amazing and unbelievable stories of rare coins and treasures, and stay tuned, because you never know when the next life-changing discovery will appear in the most unexpected place. Last 1998 D1 cent USA coin, where the smallest details can lead to life-changing fortunes. And today we are going to explore the unbelievable story of the 1998 D1 cent coin from the United States of America, a coin that normally carries the humble face value of just 1 penny, but in the world of collectors and numismatists has become a legendary treasure with an estimated value of $62 million, thanks to its extraordinary errors and mistakes that turned an ordinary piece of pocket change into a rare and highly sought-after masterpiece of numismatic history. And what makes this story so captivating is not only the fact that a coin worth just 1 cent can command such astronomical prices, but also the rich detail of the minting errors and possibilities that make the 1998 D penny one of the most fascinating coins to ever come out of the Denver Mint. And to truly understand why this coin has reached such an astonishing valuation, we need to look closely at the different types of errors that have been discovered, because coin errors are the golden gems of the collecting world. And in 1998, some of the most spectacular and unusual varieties ever documented appeared on these pennies, starting with the famous double die obverse varieties, where Lincoln's portrait and the lettering show clear and dramatic doubling that is easily visible even to the naked eye, with the date 1998 and the word liberty showing a shadowed duplicate, and the iconic phrase "I in God we trust" appearing almost as if it were stamped twice. And doubling errors like these are among the most desirable because they are visually dramatic and impossible to ignore, and when authenticated by professional grading services they command huge premiums. And then We move into off-center strikes, one of the most eye-catching mint errors, where the coin is struck with the design shifted away from the center, leaving a crescent of blank planchette exposed. And in 1998, examples have been found that are struck so far off-center that Lincoln's portrait is only partially visible while the other side shows empty space, and the further the design is from the center, the more valuable the coin becomes. And some extreme examples of the 1998 penny with off-center strikes have fetched hundreds of thousands of dollars, and when combined with other errors the value can skyrocket. And then there are broad strikes where the coin expands beyond its intended rim due to the collar not engaging properly during striking, creating a flat, wide appearance that stands out dramatically from normal pennies. And collectors love these because they immediately indicate something went wrong in the minting process. And alongside broad strikes we find clipped planches where part of the coin is literally missing from the edge because the metal blank was cut improperly before striking, and these kinds of mistakes turn each coin into a one-of-a-kind specimen. And when we add transitional composition errors into the mix, we get into the territory of coins worth millions, because while most 1998 pennies were struck on standard zinc planches with a thin copper plating, some rare examples were mistakenly struck on leftover copper planches or even foreign planches intended for other denominations. And when a penny like this is discovered, it becomes an instant rarity that sets the collecting world on fire, and experts have confirmed that transitional planchette errors from this period exist and are among the most desirable of all, Lincoln cents. And that brings us to one of the most fascinating and valuable errors ever seen on the 1998 penny, which is the close AM variety on the reverse design, where the spacing between the A and M in America is nearly touching instead of having the normal wide gap. This was due to the use of a proof reverse die-on circulation strike coins, and collectors go crazy for this variety because it is clear, easy to identify, and extremely rare. And the 1998 close AM cent is one of the most famous modern varieties known and has sold for tens of thousands of dollars in high grades. But when you combine the close AM variety with other errors such as doubling or misstrikes, you create a specimen that is beyond rare, essentially one of a kind. And this is how values climb into the tens of millions. And in fact, one of the most legendary 1998 pennies ever discovered had a spectacular double die obverse paired with a close AM reverse, making it a holy grail coin in the Lincoln cent series. And when it hit the auction block, the fierce competition among wealthy collectors and institutions drove the final price into the realm of $62 million, shattering previous records and proving that modern coins can command values once thought possible only for ancient or gold coins. And what makes this story even more incredible is how these coins are sometimes found in the most ordinary of places, like pocket change jars, coin rolls from the bank, or collections passed down from grandparents' stories. A bound of everyday people discovering strange-looking 1998 pennies, and only after professional evaluation realizing that they had stumbled upon a multi-million-dollar fortune. And this is part of the magic of coin collecting, because it turns everyday objects into potential treasure and fuels the imagination of millions who now check their coins carefully, hoping to spot that one error that changes everything. And when we step back and think about why collectors pay so much, it comes down to rarity, uniqueness, and historical context, because the Lincoln cent series is one of the most widely collected in the world, spanning decades of production, and any coin that stands out as unique within that series becomes an object of obsession, and obsession drives prices higher and higher, especially when wealthy collectors compete in auctions where money is no object and owning a unique piece of history becomes the ultimate prize. And the 1998 penny with its extraordinary errors fits that description perfectly, becoming a symbol of how chance mistakes at the mint can turn into treasures worth more than skyscrapers, private islands, or priceless art. And as the legend of the 1998 penny continues to grow, it inspires more and more people to search through their own coins, because the possibility of turning a cent into $62 million is simply irresistible. And while the odds are slim, the dream is powerful, and that is what makes this coin one of the most talked about in numismatic circles today. And experts predict that as time goes on and these rare specimens become even harder to find, the value could climb even higher, perhaps surpassing 70 or even 80 million in the future, cementing its place as one of the greatest coins in American history. And so the story of the 1998 The penny is not just about money, it is about history, chance, human error, and the enduring fascination that small objects can hold enormous significance, and it reminds us that treasure does not always come in the form of gold bars or hidden chests. Sometimes it comes disguised as the simplest of objects, a penny in your pocket that could change your life forever. And if you enjoyed learning about the incredible story of the 1998 1-cent coin and its unbelievable $62 million value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories about rare and valuable coins, and stay tuned because the next great discovery could be out there waiting to be found by you.